What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Well, it's a new year, new chassis for the Polaris snowmobiles. We're working with Matryx, and I cannot wait to show you guys my mods for the year. Let's check them out. All right, so this is one of my favorite videos we do each year. As you can tell, we've done builds in the last couple of seasons here on the channel, and we're to a point where both of my what I'd call stage builds are done enough to where we can do reviews on them. The idea behind doing a starting line products build as well as a stage kit from Bikeman was to just have either one of those companies kind of just deciding on what was the most important in terms of power, clutching, power to the ground, and then overall feel of the sled. And I've put enough time on each one of them to give you guys kind of my honest opinion of the stage kits themselves. Before we get into the components, the snowmobiles themselves are a bit different. So both obviously 22 Matryx. We've got a 155 3-inch Matryx slash, and then a 165 275 Series 8. So that 2.75 track, and that's the 165 Matryx slash over here. So slightly different setups of the snowmobiles. Handlebars the same, ski stance the same, some different spindles and some things happening over here. And then obvious, you guys can tell the Barant Edition Fox air shocks and the lightweight coils. And so we made some changes, we did some things different just so we could have some comparisons and some cool things to, well, give my honest opinion about as I start to put more miles on them. All right, so we'll start with the SLP Twin Pipe sled first. As you guys see the name there, Rowdy Roddy Twin Piper, named after the wrestler back in the day, wore a kilt, hence the plaid on the wrap, which Arctic FX just did an awesome job of kind of bringing the whole thing to life. And it's super fun, and I think that there is horsepower gains when you have a really fun name to your snowmobile. And we all know that the Arctic FX wrap in itself is about 4, almost 5 horsepower. It hasn't been completely dyno tested, but the cooler the wrap, the more fun you have, and I feel like it adds power to the sled. So Arctic FX did an awesome job with the wrap. You guys can tell that we've both the builds have the new Skins helium hood, and they do have the wrap cuts for that, making these sleds look, I'd say, completely unique, and it just gives like even more of a mod look to the snowmobile. We've talked about the helium a bit before, and you guys have seen from my posts the way the 7S is now angled. It really gives the rider a real clear view of the gauge, and that makes it super nice, along with having the added storage that is here. With the twin pipe setup, we actually don't get to use this bag because of the pipe clearances there, and then underneath this hood, I've got quite a bit of heat tape and things like that, and so we can talk about that a bit later, but just going along the sled here. So things that are different from stock. We put a helium hood on there. We've also got, in terms of shedding some weight off of that, and by the way, this is close to about 7 or almost 8 pounds away from the stock Matryx hood, which is pretty amazing, you know, in terms of how heavy that hood was and what weight we're taking away by adding that helium hood to it. The Nextech skid, so this was my 4th season using the Nextech brand of skid, and we weighed that once we pulled it out of there, and we were right at about 9 pounds savings from the stock setup. So those two things together, and we're getting close to that 20 pounds away from stock, which I am telling you, combining that with the rest of the performance mods we make to the sled, it truthfully changes the snowmobile in a big way. So the Nextech skid, complete with the titanium, everything that's on there that's a bolt is titanium. The scratchers are titanium. So it's just a really clean look, and one that I've been really happy with the last few years. So why not put it into this year's builds? The other Skins product that's on here before we move into the engine are the Skins Next Level Pac-Man bags, truly quick release onto the handlebars. Absolutely loving these packs. Love having all of those amenities, those things that are really important to me: phone, spot, satellite phone, some fire starters, some candy bars, things like that, all right here, right where I need it. It's also weight kind of in the perfect spot on the sled. We got the Next Level QR pack on the back, complete with the T-slots. You guys have seen from my posts how we use those T-slots so we can use our existing hardware and mount right onto the Matryx slash tunnels. That's working really well. The air shocks versus coil shocks. So this was a big one between the two. So went with the lightweight coils on this one. There are some very, very unique differences. One thing that I would tell you differences of it, and in my opinion, the air shocks to me have quite a bit more adjustability. So for those of you watching that are a heavier rider, you're thinking about having all of that adjustability, the air shocks to me, you have a bit more adjustability within that, especially if you're a bigger guy, to really help identify, you know, what that ride quality is and have those adjustable, you know, have that adjustability within the shocks. But the lightweight coils to me, for the money, for what they are, you do have some adjustability. They are still the Barant Edition QS3s, and I've got them fairly dialed in to where it certainly makes this sled a lot of fun. The other thing I would point out about the Next Tech Skid is that that is a chaos profile, so that this does ride way more with that front end lift, which for a mod sled, for a stage sled, is exactly what I want out of a snowmobile. The ZRP lightweight package, those are things that are kind of coming soon. Lightweight clutch cover, that sort of thing. And then out here, what we can see for now is this new billet brake lever. So you've got this new one finger brake, and you think ZRP, you know, Zollinger, those guys, they don't just make something and make it a different color. These guys spent a bunch of time really developing a one finger brake that was just a quick on and off replacement to the stock brake. And it really did help and make an awesome difference in terms of riding with that one finger on the brake. The plastic housing on the Hayes brake became a bit of an issue, and so here's their answer with this billet cover from ZRP in various colors. I just did this to try to tie in as much of these colorways as I could. And then on the throttle block side, you guys see the MVM, thanks to them with the new Next Level logos on there, but the new throttle block really reducing snow and ice buildup on that, making that a lot safer setup than the factory plastic setup that's there. So that's been really good. Still rocking the Polaris factory tether for now. DuraPro tethers, as we know, you've seen those on plenty of builds that I've had in the past. That would be the direct replacement onto that when and if I end up having an issue with those. So for now, we'll just keep that stock. And yeah, that's kind of covering what we've got on the outside of the snowmobile. Moving inside, and we'll be sure to have some shots that show this, we've got the SLP Outlaw Twins. So the twin pipe setup. We've also got their clutching, and so it's their twins, their clutching, the SLP head, the SLP torque arm, and as well as the SLP flash. And so lots going into this sort of mod build. Still what they're calling a stage kit of sorts. We're not doing any kind of porting. There's nothing like that within the engine. So unlike a 900 or something like that, this is still just head, pipe, can, clutching, tune. But man, does it make a huge difference in throttle response, in overall speed and torque. And where it really shines is, well, my style of riding, just very technical in the trees, a lot of quick decisions where you just need that thing to just be so spot on. And it backshifts really well, it holds RPM really well. And I'm really, really excited about this year's SLP build. All right, so moving on to my second build of the season. This one aptly named Eddie Power because of the colorways. I really like that. This thing turned out exactly the way I envisioned it. So from the beginning of the year, saw the wrap, used the Arctic FX Graphics brand new website, which by the way is so phenomenally good. It's so easy to go on there, navigate through, pick your sled, the track length, everything, and all the changes that I wanted them to make in terms of like blacking out the rails, blacking out the suspension so that you truly got to see what your sled was gonna look like. This thing came out exactly the way I envisioned it, which was so, so cool. And huge thanks to Arctic FX Graphics for all their changes and all their customization. You guys know that you've got to go through and use that website. It is such a helpful tool or a resource to getting exactly what you want out of your wrap. And you guys do know, again, that it adds about 4 or 5 horsepower. We haven't really proven that yet, but man, do I feel like once this thing is all dialed in and wrapped, it is just that much quicker. So this is a 155 Matryx Slash 3-inch track, so slightly different from my SLP build. And you can see with the Matryx Slash and a 155, man, it makes it like a short track, which is for spring snow or even low snow conditions, makes it so much dang fun. Big changes to the outside as you're seeing, beyond the awesome looking wrap and some of these other things, is the air shocks. So the Fox QS3 Barant Edition shocks, those things have been just solid gold for me the last few years. And I feel like, and I've said it before, the adjustability that you get from an air shock. I step onto this platform with my key ingredients in terms of air pressure, both in the main chamber and evol. Get your rebound setting the way you want it. And whether you're wanting to ride in 1, 2, or 3, man, does it make these really cool changes as you're riding it. And for me, it's an avatar horse, man. I jump on this thing, I plug into it. I know what it's gonna do and how it's gonna react, and that helps me go ride and put this thing in all those technical spots and do it with so much trust. So loving the air shock package on this snowmobile. Again, we've got the Skins helium hood with the new Arctic FX cuts so that you can make and continue your wrap design into that new hood. On this sled, because of the pipe configuration, we're still able to utilize the bag down here for storage, which is so awesome for gloves and all those things that you want to keep warm. Really good spot for a beanie, your balaclava. And then when stuff gets wet, it's a great spot, maybe not to dry out things completely, but at least warm things up if you needed to use them again. Storage here for water, for extra pairs of gloves, other things like that. So ideal to have that storage right where you're at it. Again, placing that gauge at about a 20 degree. When you're standing up, which is what we do as riders, where that puts the gauge in terms of your view so that you can check, especially on a mod sled, RPM, you can check engine temp, where you're headed, elevation. The new 7S display, can't say enough about Polaris in terms of what they've built there. And being able to give all those key ingredients to the rider right there in front of you, along with the maps that we're using and being able to keep your group together. All of those different things have been just awesome with the 7S. Moving back on the sled, we've got the next level Pac-Man. By far, and this is in all honesty, by far the coolest design of a handlebar pack that we could have ever created, and so thankful to Skins. It's an American company. They are trying their butts off for all of us out there, but this pack in itself has just been so great. I love keeping those key pieces, those components to me as a backcountry rider, my spot, my satellite phone, my GoPro. In here I keep my cell phone, some clutching tools, a couple candy bars, some fire starter, things like that, but it's all right there where I need it, and that's just so fantastic. Running the ZRP, we've got the brake lever again, guys, the one finger brake, which just, the moment you put it on, just trust me, it's just absolutely awesome. The reservoir cover for protection there, the MVM throttle block over here, another safety piece as well as strength, just makes the whole handlebar setup really good. Moving back on the sled, we've got the small QR pack along with the T-slots like we had on the SLP build. This whole thing here, what I'm finding is so unique about it is, you know, we have the ability with the T-slots the way they're set up that if I wanted to run my larger QR bag, the T-slots extended out that way allow me to do that. So if I were going on a bigger ride, maybe I was carrying more stuff for someone else, you'd have that ability to just pull this off, quick release, and throw on that bigger pack. On a 155, that's a whole lot of luggage onto the back of the sled, so for now we'll keep that small. And the whole intent with all of these builds is as light as possible. We've got the next level Skins bumpers. So this on a 155, both front and rear, are the first of its kind, and I get it, you guys have been waiting patiently. Skins is in the same boat that we all are in terms of, you know, production and COVID and all of those things, so bear with us, but the bumpers turned out absolutely awesome. And for those that I'm sure are wondering, we definitely took into account strengthening the back end of the Matryx / tunnel, and you can tell with the amount of rivets and bolts and everything else that we have certainly added a lot of rigidity to the back of the sled. Underneath the snowmobile, loving the Ice Age rail setup. This guy's came as a 155 3-inch Pro RMK. Well, I put Chaos profile rails underneath it. So these are not the bomber, they're just the classic rails. Love the anodized black, all polished out. You can really see the attention to detail there. And then I'm running those Ibex scratchers on here. I feel like versus the stock scratcher, especially on the Matryx Slash, the way the scratcher is actually hitting, and this would be just food for thought for everybody that's out there running the stock scratcher, it seems like where the scratcher is actually doing its job but throwing up snow, that's really helping out our existing Axis model sleds with our older U-coolers, but the snow is actually not being thrown to where the cooler is on these, which is essentially right here ending at the back of the gas tank. Those things, because they're straight down, tend to throw up a bit more snow, so I'm noticing an improvement on cooling by running more of a scratcher that looks like these Ibex, and they've been ultra strong so far. Got the air shocks underneath there. We've got the 8-inch Hellfire wheels, just really completing the exterior of the snowmobile and making it truly custom. All right, so moving to the inside, and we'll have, again, shots of showing you guys what's inside of here, but this is a Bikeman Stage 2 built by, like I said, good buddy Jared Sessions. Jared has been a longtime friend, worked for Boondocker for a number of years, and basically every single sled that Jared has touched, he works on my jet skis too, everything that he has ever touched, he has made flawless. He has made it fast, he has made it reliable, and so why not have him do the full Bikeman get up to this thing so we'd have some great sleds to compare with. So this is their Stage 2, which is complete with their head, their Y-pipe, their single pipe, their lightweight silencer, as well as their clutching. So lightweight clutch cover, his clutching, all of those things, the sniper weights, if you haven't heard of those, as well as their tune. So a complete stage all the way through it, and again, not boring. So there is no, different piston. This is all kind of based off stock motor, head, Y-pipe, pipe, can, clutching, and their tune. So far, so good. It's a brand new motor. It's a brand new, I get it, that's an 850. We've had 850s out for a while, but because of Polaris and tweaks to calibration, things like that, for both of these sleds, to get those profiles just right, to make that tune work so spot on, and I am very, very picky, I know we're gonna get there. And they have been a lot of fun, and it's been a lot of fun to work with both companies and really try to identify what it is that's important to them and how that translates to the rider. I really, really like very responsive, tons of bottom end, very crisp, and then that back shift as a tree rider, man, you're on it at times and you're just so much power, and then boom, you're smashing the brakes and then back on it again, whether you're in a hop over position or just a really gnarly technical spot in the trees. Having sleds that deliver that and deliver that consistently is so dang important, and why I went with both of these companies. All right, well, hopefully you guys like this video. Again, I am super excited about my builds for the season. This Starting Line Products Outlaw Twin build that we're calling Rowdy Roddy Twin Piper, and then the Stage 2 Bikeman build that I am calling Eddie Power. Both of these two snowmobiles, guys, I've had some time on them, really liking both of them. At this point, man, one versus the other, there are some differences to each sled, and because the longer track length on the twin pipe sled versus the shorter 3-inch track, it's a bit hard as we go through the season to identify which one is actually necking out the other. So as we move along, I will give you guys more insight to what these builds truly offer, and if there is a clear winner by the end of the season, I would certainly let you guys know. So hopefully you guys like this video. Remember to leave those questions and comments, smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you next time.